Hello, everybody. I hope everyone can hear me okay. So we're talking about shields. I know this. I've been working on a lot of different playtest materials, including things about vampires, things that are inspired by Baldur's Gate 3 and psionics and a bunch of other stuff. But I figured this would be a nice first way to start what will probably be a weekly show about playtest materials and just weird, silly ideas that I'm having when things I'm trying to design. And a lot of these are going to be just kind of hacks initially. We're going to take sometimes, in some cases, a subclass that does exist and try to refine it, or we'll also try to break it down into its parts and make something entirely new. That's something I see very commonly when it comes to like initial game design. So I am by no means an expert in game design. It just means I'm going to walk you through the process. That a lot of that is ideation and stuff like that. So I'm going to be full confession. I wish there was more to do with shields in D&D. It is a point of frustration for me for many years. Daggerheart has shields, at least, that do damage and that you can use to make an attack. Now, obviously, we have the new, really improved Shield Master feat that we have, where we can actually push someone back several feet, stuff like that. I love that stuff. I know that historically shields have not had as much utility, other than blocking weapon attacks and stuff like that, except for like flanks and stuff, things like that in history. But the problem is the meta in fantasy now is shields are far more effective. I mean, if you look at anything like Captain America and stuff like that, I think people want more from their shields, and there's a spectrum of what they want. So with shields, it's interesting. I think sometimes you just want a really cool shield, and that's enough to be part of the identity of your character. I also think a lot of people already are guessing what I'm working on. so, but I think there's also room there for an entire shield subclass. I don't know what entirely that looks like. I feel like it has a little mixture of the Cavalier in there as well. Because you are constantly trying to block. Yes, everyone's guessing. I think we all have been we've all been guessing what this kind of subclass would be. So 100% we're getting into all that. So if you're a Shield fan, which you clearly are because of this very specific thumbnail, we are a niche audience, everyone who's in here right now. So just kind of want to dive in what we've got. We do have a boomerang shield that was introduced into, I'm forgetting it right now. It was the book of, no, it wasn't the book of many things. It was the tarot card book. Yeah, tower shields, stuff like that, 100%. So yeah, let's go ahead and go into, I have a document, and under it says Arcane Archer, but don't worry about that. I'm just using Arcane Archer as a framework for things that we can do, because there are different kind of things that maybe you'd want to do, possibly. Maybe we should just dive in right now. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to set up my screen. Again, these are just raw notes, so the final versions of all this stuff will be available on Patreon in PDF form. So there's a couple of things I really wish we had for shields. One is I find shields to be terrifying sometimes. I think shields made of monster skin would be absolutely amazing. So one of the things I would like to see is a beholder shield, and that this would have a variety of ray effects that could be used. Now, these wouldn't be ultra powerful, but this could be a magical item that, can shoot out a couple different rays at the enemy. It kind of reminds me of like Captain America using a pistol with a shield is pretty hilarious. So just shooting rays out at people while having a little bit of cover of the same thing. So this would be a class of shields that are all monster skins. So we would have a dragon shield. We would have, let's see, what else do I have in there? A Displacer Beast shield. And this is probably my favorite, and you're going to all hate it. You have a symbiotic relationship with a Mimic Shield. So I am working on designing all of these. The Mimic Shield obviously is sticky, and it will try to bite you. So has a tongue, and will make a bite attack. So those are the pretty wild ones I've got so far, in terms of shields. Sentient shields are kind of already covered, but yet these certainly are and can be also sentient. So you can imagine the beholder's personality is inside this particular shield. And is sentient. I think that makes more sense for things like the Dragon Shield. Displacer Beast, not so much. Sometimes sentient. And may have their own agendas that they try to push you towards. Some of these shields that you have, and I think it's fun for some magical items, for some of these magical items to have like almost a persuasion check they can do to you to get you to maybe do the wrong thing. I think that's a lot of good role play. I would like in any type of magical item, but I like to build it into my magical items, especially the ones that are a little bit wilder. I think there needs to be a little bit more push and pull when it comes to, okay, is this too powerful? Well, maybe it's too powerful, but there is a negative effect. You could be persuaded by this shield, this item that you are hiding behind, to have another alternate perspective on things. So these are the top 4 monster shields I'm currently working on that I'm trying to make that are not broken. Displacer Beast shield kind of hides what your actual location is and has kind of like a blur effect. But I was trying to work with the top D&D monsters. Now, I thought about Bark Shield made out of lights. So, you know, I think I want to create a series of shields that you and the Dungeon Master can determine a number of different effects. Where you have the options. So, Blight Shield, shooting out, needles. I just fantasize about shields a lot. And when it comes to monsters, the one thing I feel like D&D is really missing is sometimes the harvesting of those monsters to create different magical items. I always love that stuff. If you love Delicious Dungeon, I think this is a good example of, creating food from different types of monsters. I think there's a history there in video games, and certainly you can harvest the shield of a flail snail and get some nice anti-magical effects on weaponry, but it's really far and few between in D&D. I would not say no to a D&D product that was all about enhancing magical items. I'd probably buy that in a heartbeat. I think I had Modron Shield in there. But yeah, there's a time, but you can see like how many different types of creatures we could have built, and so you can have something for the steampunk person, the gear shield built out of Modron parts, which may be a discussion next time you run into Modrons. Is certainly a thing. So those are apparently I can't spell shield today. That's a good sign. So that's the kind of stuff that's been kind of rattling around in my brain. I'm having very similar thoughts about vampirism, the nature of vampires and dampiers in D&D, also feats that enhance vampires as you go, and even an entire monster subclass. So this is what I've been working on for playtest materials. I've been pretty silent about that because I've been traveling so much, and I actually got really sick. I got 2 colds in a row. I got a little bit of a lung infection. And I really screwed up my toe by ramming it into a step during a shoot. And yeah, I've been a hot mess for a couple of weeks. So those are some of the type of magical item shields that I'm excited for. I want to try to, and bear with me, we're going to take a look at the Arcane Archer, and we're going to take a look at the older Arcane Archer. And is there a framework for someone who is obsessed with shields but wants to do their own thing? So we'll just change this to, Elite Shield Master for now. And again, only a framework. We're going to delete this. We're just editing live, which is probably a terrible idea. But I just wanted to get out there and make something today. I got the bug. So I feel like the Elite Shield Master should be a fighter. So I do have the Displacer Beast basically creates a version of the Blur spell. Yes, absolutely. A Door Knocker as a shield is brilliant. I'd be curious what it actually does. Now, you could go so broad that the Shield Master can replicate all these effects within D&D with one shield. I do find a lot of inspiration from Bloodsport, actually, from the Suicide Squad. If you see how his gun kind of adapts to every type of situation, I could see someone who can infuse their shield to do that as well. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is all I think about. This is my brain 24/7, so you're getting kind of direct access. And like I said, this will end up in PDF form on my Patreon page for download. Right now, I just struggle with InDesign. I find InDesign really terrifying for some reason, and I know it's not. So, I do want to break down the Arcane Archer. First off, Arcane Shot, only 2 options. That's no good. Let's see. So, I think you should at least start off with 3 options to feel like you are actually a Shield Master. And we're going to figure out what those options are. Curving Shot. I think this is going to be Boomerang Shot. I mean, Curving Shot is not inaccurate, right? But this is going to be we're going to turn level 7 into a boomerang-like ability. That's when you hit like Captain America's status. I feel like that's such a part of the meta now. Oh, did I do something? Hold on. Like Captain America's status. Everything froze on me. Sorry, everybody. I got terrified that the stream fell down. Alright. So let's turn this into Boomerang. Boomerang Shield. There's got to be a better word for that. Magic Arrow, we'll figure that out. What we'd like to replace that. Magic Shield, I think, is probably where I'm leaning. I want to be able to give my shield effect. So we have a lot of different effects where you can grant benefits to people with shields using Shield Master and a couple other things where you help the party. It would be hard for me to imagine an arcane Shield Master not kind of creating a bubble shield, right? So I feel... So you do get a feat that gives you effectively evasion. And I don't want to step on the toes of necessarily other feats that, of course, you should be using as a fighter. So we can examine the different feats that help you be a fighter, and we may actually avoid those. But it may behoove us to, like, not do that. So, Boomerang Shield, Magic Shield, and I feel like Boomerang Shield may act kind of like a low-level chromatic orb to a degree. So, we'll work on that. Ever-Ray Shot, Arcane Shots. See, yeah, it's pretty basic stuff when you level up on Arcane Archer, so it's pretty easy to mess around. Okay, so I do feel like if you are a magical Shield Master, you do have the option to have Arcane. You know what I'd actually change this to? At 3rd level, you learn magical theory about secrets of nature, typically for practitioners of the elven tradition. We'll get rid of that. I think you would have the access to Arcana, but do we feel like there's another skill, like Intimidation? I always think about the Uruk. That's sun. Sorry, I'm being hit by lost sunlight. Do you ever feel... There's something really cool about the Urukai in... and I know that you're using their spears, but the way they intimidate with their shields, I think is really cool. And there's something about you're constantly pushing people back, and it's almost like a force of will. So I'm going to be a little weird, and I'm going to put intimidation. As one of the skills that you actually learn. And then other cantrips would you learn? Druidcraft, no. I don't know about predestination. What two cantrips would I give you? This is a good question. I actually like this because I have a whole bunch of footnotes, but I didn't want to be so prepared that this wasn't feeling like a I didn't want to feel like this was not an organic video. So this is actually more fun for me. Let's take a look. I don't want to lose chat, so I got windows everywhere. Not running out of windows. And our ads running. Let's see. Yeah, certainly mending makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna go to D&D Beyond and just take a look at the cantrips available. Be pretty wild to have a ranged one. But I don't know if that's what we're going for here. Tools. What other... Yeah, go ahead and sound off in chat what you think would be fun. When to play... Do-do-do-do. That's... odd. Oh, that's why this is busted right now. 1 second. I think mending is 100% really on brand. Let's see. I think things like Firebolt would be weird and OP a little bit. Let's see. Tools. Adventures. Sorry, I keep on getting alerts on my phone. I'm not gonna lie, the front page of D&D Beyond is a little overwhelming sometimes. There's a lot of things there. All right. Okay, let's look at all cantrips. And we don't need to be precious about what classes. Alright. And I probably need to filter out third-party stuff, but we'll try to... Blade Ward. Maybe. What do you think about Blade Ward? Blade Ward might be pretty fun. I mean, you're reducing 1d4 against somebody, but like, when are you having time to cast this? That's the problem in combat. I feel like this needs to be more utility. So let's go ahead and do, I think, mending for sure. I don't think Druidcraft makes sense. What's another good utility spell? Friends. No. Guidance is an option. Does require wait, yeah, that's concentration though. That's, I mean, you're in the thick of it. Man, lightning lure would be bizarre. Message, mind sliver, minor illusion. Yeah, you know what? Some of these spells would be direct. Like you would have Firebolt coming out of the. I think you would have Firebolt coming out of the Beholder spell for sure. You know, Mimic could actually cast Primal Savagery and just have teeth come out. um, God, it'd be nasty to have Ray of Frost coming out of a shield. Shocking Grasp would be nasty. A shockable shield. I think that's very specific to like a specific weapon though. But yeah, who wouldn't want an electrified shield? Again, these cantrips feel a little bit like they need to be more utility and less combat focused. However, you know what? Let's try True Strike. I mean, we'll see how that goes. That might be completely overpowered. Because it really does feel like these are supposed to be utility spells, not, damaging. But True Strike and like Intimidation, this feels very Arcane Archer. Sorry, I'm really like wringing my hands about this particular topic right now. So, okay, so let's get into it. At third level, you unleash special effects with some of your shield. Let's just go ahead and change that. And that's going to be 3. We're not going to change the wording on all of this. Once per turn. Yeah, once per turn, we'll do some shield stuff. Okay, you can use... Yeah. Okay, we'll just fix this. So Magic Arrow. At 7th level, we gain the ability to infuse arrows with magic, whether they're fired, blah, blah. They're magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance, non-magical attack. Magic fades away right immediately. This is constantly happening. This is not applicable to us in any way. So I feel like at 7th level, you gain the ability to... this will be the wild one. Well, that's Curving Shot. So 7th level... I think once per long rest, let's see. Now, we may make this too powerful for use. So what if we did... I feel like shield bubbles the dream, right? You grant... What do you think, a 20-foot emanation? Let's do +2 AC. That feels like, was that light cover or something? Yeah, I know, that does step on monks a little bit. So, shield bubble, you grant everyone, and this is not refined, you grant everyone within, as a reaction. Yeah, I think this is as a reaction. You grant everyone within a 20-foot emanation a +2 to AC. You have 2 uses of this ability, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. So you're granting everyone half cover. I think this is very much... boy, I can't even remember. It's like a Halo 3 trailer a long time ago where it just drops the bomb and it creates a shield around you. I think that's kind of I think that's the excitement. And I think most people will be within 20 feet of you. Could expand this to 30 feet, but that's +2 as a reaction. Everyone a +2 to their AC till the end of their turn. Well, okay, I'll have to work on if that's broken. So I think shield bubble feels pretty good. I'm going to look through chat. So yeah, shield bash you're going to definitely get from the shield master feat, which you want to take. And so I'm not stepping on the toes of that. I think +2 suddenly as a reaction is pretty great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this should be till the end of my next turn. You're right. Otherwise, this would double. We don't want that to be layering. Okay. So, curving shot. I think this is where we introduce... And this is where I think people are going to be divided. So, this is going to take a lot of... this is going to take a lot of tweaking. For people that actually like this. You now learn how to throw. And there is a shield that already does this. It's just very obscure. So you throw a shield towards a target. And this is my own thing. So when you make an attack roll with your shield, how do I make this scale? I want this to do damage, but I want it to bounce. So okay, this is going to get weird. I think this should be only within 20 feet. I need to make sure this is ranged. So not win, but a ranged attack. Roll with your shield within 20 feet. Causing this... Everyone may hate... How does everyone feel about 1d4s? The reason I'm looking at 1d4 is I need these... I need the high frequency of doubling up. And I like the idea of spikes on shields. So there's a weird through line. So I'm going to make this... 2d4 damage. That... Oof. Is 2d4 enough? You're expending an attack roll. Okay, so 2d4. You still have a decent likelihood, and we can scale the damage actually as we go up. So I think there's a... So if you're rolling 2d4s, you have a higher chance than higher damage rolls to bounce to another target. If any two numbers match on the rolls, the shield bounces to another target. So that feels like we're kind of getting into the zone. Mathematically, I think there's something wrong here. But you're basically throwing a light hammer at people, and this is part of one of your attack rolls, so now you kind of have a weird cantrip. Like, you get a random ranged attack that you're able to do. Yeah, this is only... This is part of... This is only a part of one of your attack rolls. So this is not eating up your full attack. We gotta work on that wording for sure. But I think that's fun. Just call this bouncing shield. For a crit, yeah, you would still. I mean, if it's a crit, it's a crit. You do have to make an attack roll, so yeah, you're making a ranged attack roll. So if it's a crit, then you're doing 44. And I think I'd argue if you're doing that and the damage do match, you are bouncing to another target, and that includes other attacks. So you could, if you kept on rolling 2 4s, you're bouncing the shield around the room. It's unlikely, but it's fun. It may become more likely as we go up. Just testing out the idea. So everybody shot. Okay, we know what this is. All your magical. Your magical shield is available whenever the battle starts. I think we kind of maintain this. You always want to have this ready. And this is a very basic design right now. Now you get arcane shots. So this is where we get weird with everything. We want a lot of weird things to do with shields, right? So we're not going to be banishing people. Banishing would be a little bit fun. If you hit someone so hard with a shield they disappeared, that'd be pretty amazing. I think we're using strength for shield. I think, I mean, even use strength for throwing axes, so I think that's the same. Yeah. Let's see. And if you guys have a question, use the super chat, and I'll definitely see it. All right. I would love to knock someone out of existence with banishing arrow. Can you? I'm leaving it because I think it's funny. Maybe we can make something that's a little bit different than this, but can you imagine hitting so... It's like ringing someone's bell, right? You hit them so hard with a shield attack that they just leave existence for like one turn. I think that would be pretty hilarious. All right. This is where it gets hard, folks. Because we want enough options to feel like we're not getting bored. Beguiling does not make sense. Grasping arrow, piercing arrow. Seeking arrow, shadow arrow. Psychic damage. Don't think that works. It may be that we cannibalize the magical items to finish this off. Oh, this is a conundrum. I like the idea of a banishing shield strike. I think that's really cool. I want something reflective in this. That was weird. You store kinetic energy with in your shield. I mean, well, we need something that reflects damage back a little bit. So I think we needed like a built-in. We need a type of hellish rebuke. immediately after an attack strikes you, you may use your reaction to cause that target damage or another target within 5 feet of you. So at least you don't get bored. And there's a little bit more utility. That creature... hit by this attack takes not psychic damage. I think it's force. I know that's a little OP, but it's the only thing that really thematically matters. Target must succeed in Wisdom saving throw or is charmed. Well, that's not applicable. I think that's pretty strong. And then I think it goes up to 46. This really makes it so people don't want to try to hit you. If they hit you, they're pissed. Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, in D&D, you know, your armor class doesn't really imply that you didn't technically get hit. Same thing with hit points. It's all a little squirrely in Dungeons and Dragons what hit points and AC actually really do functionally mean. 46 Hellish Rebuke. All right, I feel like this is kind of close. It's pretty bare bones, but this is like, that's the dream. You're reflecting attacks. Sort of. It's a rebuke. It's a magical rebuke of storing up kinetic energy and deflecting it against somebody else. I do think we need... Why is this harder than I thought it was going to be? Oh, I hate it. Because, again, we have the feats where we're allowed to run, and we could break all these other feats that have to do with shields. So that's my primary concern. I'm just looking at chat. What's interesting? Shield Rebuke. Ah, alright. I got something weird. So we talk about pushing people all the time, but maybe we push them for real. So this isn't damage. This is stupid. Lovely. I gotta look this up. Okay. Let's look at the jump spell. Alright, we're just gonna use this as a baseline. Okay. So, pushing assist. You touch a willing... Okay. A willing target touched by your shield. That creature can jump up to 30 feet by spending 10 feet of movement. Uh. Oh yeah, and I think you should be the willing target somehow. Yeah. So I know this seems really specific, but it's kind of the dream. I think there's a couple of times where you see Captain America with a shield, and he holds the shield up, and someone just bounces off of it. So we'll get back to that. This may be too specific, but lots of utility. I mean, you're basically being able to like give someone like a necessary 30-foot boost to get somewhere. Is this a reaction? I think this is a reaction. We got a lot of reactions. Yeah. So you've got someone near you, and they need to get out of the fray. Maybe it's even a wizard. 30 feet's 30 feet. Can jump up to 30 feet. I feel like this could be better. Yeah, we'll see. I think we need power slide in here, which is pretty silly. I should have watched all the Captain America films before this stream to like fully absorb what we're working on. So I think I don't want everything to be force damage. Maybe this is going to be... Fire damage is so easily resisted. You think thunder magic into your shield? Oh, I know what this is. I didn't think I'd be changing this one. All right, give me a second. So I think we're changing piece. Like this is again just a nice way to build a framework of something silly you're trying to do. Sliding attack. So you are using your transmutation magic to give your shield an ethereal quality. I don't know about that. What is mage hand? Is what moves things around? Is what's telekinesis? Let's see. Telekinesis. I should know this at the top of my head. Transmutation, yeah. So transmutation. We're using transmutation energy to kind of make our shield hover a little bit. So you gain this kind of ethereal quality. Ethereal isn't the word, though. This may be going too anime, but you're here. So this is almost silver surfer stuff when you use this option. You don't make an attack roll, but you're doing exactly the same thing. Do you ride the shield? I think this is nuts if it doesn't disappear. I think it's hilarious if you are riding on the shield. You and the shield passes. This is so stupid. And the shield pass harmlessly through objects, ignoring cover. This is pretty cool, actually, visually. Each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw on a fail save. They're hit by the shield. And you. This is a good way to get out of combat. Plus an extra 1d6 bludgeoning. On a successful save, the target takes half damage. I think this is silly and wonky. Yeah, ride the shield right through. So basically, this is allowing you some utility on the battlefield of, and you don't have to be riding the shield. I think maybe you are just charging magically through people, and you are causing them damage. So maybe you kind of become transparent, and you are hurting them by the physical force of you just juggernauting through the battlefield, I think this is kind of interesting. That's getting the runway on some of this stuff. I think is pretty tough. I think this is how you flavor. I think charge already has the runway need, but I think sliding attack is pretty fun. I think that's in a good spot. So we'll change this from power slide to who knows. Okay, so this is doing necrotic damage, halved until the next turn. It's not really interesting, actually. And then grasping arrow doesn't make sense. I wonder if bashing shield strike, you temporarily bash your target in a harmless location to the Feywild. The creature is hit by the shield. I think at 18th level you can use this effect on yourself. Is that too powerful? Bashed, you can't move. I mean, what is a shield? You're creating a bubble. We've already got the AC. Do we need something that's kind of damage reduction as well? Yeah, range tripping is cool. I don't know if you saw Marvel Zombies. That thing was completely wild, by the way. Marvel Zombies, Captain America is riding around in his shield. It's one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. I mean, we do need just like a nasty shield bash, right? And this is the nasty shield bash, doing some necrotic damage. I think shield smite. Yeah, we don't have one that's just pure like I'm going to knock the crap out of you with the shield. So I think that dream has to stay alive. Having the shield spell built in is probably a little OP, but oh boy. Grasping arrow, shield smite. Yeah, we need a shield smite. Pushing assist is fun. There's utility there. Shield rebuke is fun. Bashing someone by hitting them so hard. Yeah, it's hard with this particular, like, dissecting the Arcane Archer and making their a capstone ability is a little difficult. I think maybe a damage reducing. So we always want to be able, giving everyone like a little +2 to AC is nice. Oh boy, it's a lot of reactions. Yeah, I'm worried about how damaged this is going to be, but like I said, I'll probably have smarter minds mine take a look at this. Oh, if you did this as a reaction, no, this is good for AOE's as a reaction. I think it's the evasion thing. I think you but like if you guys get hit by fireball, it doesn't matter about your AC. So we do need the kind of the equivalent of increasing AC. So we need something that reduces all damage coming at the party. So as a reaction, you and your allies take. As a reaction, when your allies and you, well, you and your allies take damage, you can reduce that damage by half. You cannot. It's pretty OP, but we'll see. I don't know. Extended shield feels right. It feels like you want that. Sliding attack now, we've got that. That's pretty fun. Seeking arrow and shadow arrow. I want 2 more replacements for these things. I also have I don't think I'll make it in this build, but if you haven't seen the Predator anime that came out, I forget what it was called, Predator something. One of the Vikings, one of the Viking warriors in that, the Queen, has dual shields, and she attacks with them, and it's freaking cool. So not unlike how Captain America is attacking Wakanda with 2 shields, these are like 2 curved Viking shields that form one, and that's what she's slashing with. She has no axes or anything else. It's really cool. I do want to like eventually kind of encapsulate that. This is much harder than. This is the thing is this is why the design team on the D&D team is they're so good at what they do because, yeah, especially Mackenzie DeArmas is a genius at mechanical design, great out about thinking outside the box, and obviously Jeremy and Chris and everybody. Yeah, there are abilities. What are the feats? Okay, let's take a look at the feats real quick. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in so long on this particular topic. All right, let's. Because paladins get kind of like similar abilities, and it's weird for you not to have it. So, Shieldmaster 2024. Let's take a look. Shield Bash. Yep. 5 feet of you. Make a strength saving throw to get pushed back. Interposing a shield. If you're subjugated to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you can take a reaction to take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw and you're holding a shield. So we're not stepping on that. So it must be in the fighter? Okay. Because I don't want to interfere with using a reaction. We've already got 2 reactions that basically help defend people from damage. One of which helps everyone increase their AC. I'm trying to think of the meta. Did I call it reflective attack or did I call it rebuke? Okay, let's get rid of this. This will be wild. If you succeed on a saving throw, from a spell attack, you may redirect that attack. To a target of your choosing. These are a lot of reactions. I don't know how to limit this, because what if someone just casts Disintegrate on you and you decide, and you save from it, and then you just... No, this is not my first time designing game content, actually. Believe it or not. So I needed the initial pass on something called Runeterra at D&D Beyond, and full confession, Mackenzie made it infinitely better, but I did the research behind those subclasses for Riot Games and Runeterra, and then I basically played every single one of everything that comes from Bilgewater. I did deep dives into actually playing the game, and then I kind of boiled them down to their core keystone abilities, and then I wrote up those keystone abilities as best I could in the form of 3 subclasses. Yeah, otherwise, I don't want to get fiddly with math, so you're right. Like around... feel like that's pretty rough, but I think it's also part of kind of the dream. It'd be funny if someone tried to attack you with a charm spell and you could reflect it with your shield. It's kind of like petrification. Like, what's the spell that stop? Like, from a spell, if you succeed on a saving throw from a spell attack, you may redirect. So this is the let's make it magical. Okay, let's go ahead and look up Medusa. Because this is the exact thing that goes on. Let's see. Petrifying Gaze. It's already built into the Medusa, the whole thing having its damage reflected back on them, but I like it. So, probably broken. Yeah, let's see. See, we already have one where if we already have... The issue is we already have Shield Rebuke. Immediately after an attack strikes, you can use your reaction to cause the target damage or another target within 5 feet of you. The creature hit by its attack takes 2d6. This is significantly less powerful than this, potentially, but it's pretty wild. So we got reconcile those two things. Also, people don't just design a new subclass in 1 hour. Just be aware. Don't beat yourselves up or myself too badly if these things are rough. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we don't often say left or right though within D&D in terms of like explaining what an ability is doing. I think having a range of 15 feet keeps up from getting a little too silly. What else can we do? Shadow Arrow. feel like we need one more, and we've gone pretty wild with this stuff. We're throwing shields, we're creating shields. Yeah, 10-foot cone would be interesting. But really, that gets wild if it's like a disintegration spell. That's the only concern. We've already got... We've got the sliding attack meta. We've got throwing it. We've got deflecting. We've definitely got turtling and tanking. We're boomeranging the shield around. And we still want this to become... Oh, I also have a couple other things. I have a chain shield, which is inspired by... Doom. Let's see. I'm going to actually do a little bit of a cheat here. Getting a lot of messages. Sorry, doing a little live research right now because I do feel like there's something we're missing here. What's... Oh no, I lost it. Where's my stuff? One second. There's one ability that we're missing for sure. I know it. So that's what's got me spinning out right now. Oh man, that is on the tip of my tongue. I'm looking through stuff right now. I feel like there's maybe another traversal ability that we could be doing with the shield right now, and that's what's kind of driving me buggy. I'm not gonna lie. And I also just closed out of my dock, so I don't know where I am, because I've way too much stuff open. I don't know how I close that thing. I'm just going to close everything until I find it. I feel like, is throwing the shield kind of like the soul knife something we've already explored? Have we done too much of that? Let's see. I mean, it would be cool if we threw the shield and like 30 feet, and then teleported to where that shield was. What did people think in chat? Oh yeah, flying shield attack, yeah. I like the building threshold thing. I think that takes a little bit more complicated math. All right, let's go back. Do we have too much traversal? I mean, a shield slam to the ground. Is that on theme? Like, what does chat prefer? Do we think some kind of ground slamming attack? Yeah, we've already got the sled ability in there, Kyle. And I feel like this almost covers it. Let's see. The pushing assist, shield smite, extended shield, shield rebuke. Sliding attack. Yeah, you can really use that to teleport. You're basically misty stepping with this ability already, so... I do like the trip attack. This last one's driving me nuts. This is a hard one. Next time I'll actually have these abilities up and do polls. Maybe we're thinking about this the right way. Maybe we just go invisible. Is that too rough to have one of these be flat out invisibility? Yeah, I think maybe we even need more. Okay. So I think we need some type of... Because remember, they're wearing the cloaks in Lord of the Rings, and they just make themselves look like rocks, you know, with the hobbits, and, like, no one knows they're there. We kind of, like, need a turtling ability. Yeah. I'm thinking about hiding behind the shield. But again, this is like, you know, dealer's choice, right? So we don't know what someone's actually going to want to do. But I think an invisibility option is nice. I think... let's see, what kind of trip attacks do we have right now? Sorry that this is not properly formatted. Who is the trip attack? Is it the Bellmaster now? I thought rogues had a trip attack, but I can't remember if that's still true. Like the... Okay. They can do different things with their sneak attack. Cunning strike, poison, trip. It's not crazy, but this is a... So they can do that every single time. Oh no, did they do this to my document? I did. Okay, so what if we... If the target is larger or smaller, it must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or have the prone condition. Is that enough for spending... I feel like this has to hit more than one target. Well, if we did, you can... Three might be strong. Yeah. Yeah, something that simple also feels like that's something we would just make, like giving them the topple mastery. I do like hitting 3 targets with the trip attack. I think we're in a, like, we're kind of in the meta spot of like what you are wanting out of, say, a magical shield master. I'm gonna go and put chainsaw shield just for jokes because it's Doom, and then dual wielding attack shields is another one. I also just feel like all shields should be able to do any type of damage, regardless. So, yeah. So I think this is an okay space. For those who have been waiting for playtest materials, I really appreciate your patience. Got some interesting things coming along. So, different subspecies for Dampiers, multiple ones that you can choose from, and then multiple feats that are related directly to vampires. Got some infernal stuff, some mechanical stuff that's coming out soon. And it's just kind of stuff I obsess about. I'm going to take another look at the new Arcane Archer. I think it's in a really healthy, super strong spot with the Arcane Archer that they have right now. I love the utility spells that they added, the utility effects. I thought they did a brilliant job on that. But I think it would also be fun to just like provide even more shot options that are balanced but couldn't fit in a book. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of that enlarged shield kind of effect that's happening right now by having those reactions. So I think that's how you flavor it. Like those reactions that cause an increase in armor class or an increase in damage reduction for the entire group is kind of already in that area of making a much larger shield. If you were the player, you could describe it as being that. But I think this is a good exercise in how far can you push a very hyper-focused niche idea, right? Look how hard this was for myself. And granted, I didn't spend like endless hours working on this, but this stuff is hard, and you want to make it fun. And the main thing is you want to hit the fantasy that everyone has about this stuff. It's so important. the Arcane Archer, initially failed because it didn't hit that fantasy of being a magical, bowcaster. This new UA is fantastic. I think it's way closer to the dream of being able to do just about anything with an arrow. And what that dream really has evolved to, by the way, since multiple editions of D&D is, watch Hawkeye, which I actually like Hawkeye a lot. But I like bows and arrows and all that stuff. But I love all his trick arrows. I think they're hilarious. I think they're fun. And there's like a surprise and delight factor in having almost too many arcane shots, because people will never know what you're about to shoot. So, oh yeah, designing publicly and then designing for an individual table, totally different, 100%. But you want those things to eventually be the same. You don't want to make something broken. And in the world of like digital, why can't you create things this niche? You can. You have the space. Are you going to get them published in a book? Maybe not. But yeah, this is the type of stuff I used to do all the time. And in full disclosure, often I would have someone help me refine these ideas. But I feel like I'm very good at figuring out a niche that people have not exploited yet. Now, this is the most niche thing I've ever worked on. A shield master subclass is silly. I don't think I've ever gone this far. I messed around with a gunslinger class, a card subclass, and then an underwater themed kind of grappling barbarian. That's all in Runeterra, by the way, so hold on. Let's go Runeterra. Hard to find. I'm worried about clicking on the wrong thing. Yeah. Yep, this is me. Path of the Depths, Renegade Fighter, and Wild Card Rogue. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, that's the stuff I worked on. Those were cool. I was very proud of those. So, well, thank you everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. Friday, I'll be doing my weekly live stream reacting to Critical Role. If you want to see more videos like this where we just kind of build subclasses on the fly and kind of ideate on different types of concepts, I'm more than happy to make this a weekly show as well. Thank you everyone for your endless support. It's been an interesting 3 months. So anytime anyone tunes in to watch one of my shows or like or subscribe or leave a comment, it's pretty amazing. I am stuck in my house working, and so I didn't realize how much my socialization was coming from going into Wizards of the Coast every day. I kind of keep myself to myself quite a bit, so I was not prepared for the sudden lack of human beings around me. So yeah, brainstorming's fun, but that's what I've been working on. I'm gonna publish. I'm gonna finally get this down. What else am I working on? Some Baldur's Gate 3 themed adjacent things for sure. And then, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, Jason. Thank you so much. That's very kind. I am working on Gung Fu, so I think the Arcane Archer is really great for a gun class because you can use any type of ammo. But I feel like people kind of want a gun monk, and I'm right now kind of examining the Kensei monk and how I can make a gun monk work, because I don't need the damage to be explosive. I think people just want that dream of 5 foot away gunfighting John Wick style combat, and that there's some place there for the gun monk, right? And again, very specific. Like, not everyone's looking for this, but I think this is kind of filling in that gap. Now, would that be better than the arcane archer? I don't know, but people want to see a little bit of hand combat mixed with a gun as a monk weapon. Could be really fun and interesting. I think it's hard to do. I'm doing my best. So, bunch of vampire stuff, bunch of Baldur's Gate 3 themed content. Trying to crack Gung Fu. It's pretty hard. It's a pretty hard one. I'm not gonna lie. And then I'm looking kind of at the entire year for like seasonal content, movies that are coming out that are like we can create content that's a little bit themed to, what's in the zeitgeist right now. Stuff like on Demon Hunters and stuff. That's always on my mind. I thought Demon Hunters was a great show. Has Been Hotel was a great show. I'm watching a lot of anime suddenly. But yeah. Well, I appreciate all of you. Nice 1.5 hour stream. We'll talk again soon, I hope. And I'll come up with a name for this actual show so you know what you're getting. But I hope everyone has a great day. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I will see you later.